Where the PhD is a PhD developed by Eve. The PhD is looking at container-based sanitation, developing a risk framework to reduce the risk, in particular because container-based sanitation, it has a high interaction between the user, operator, with the toilet. And the PhD has adapted the sanitation safety planning methodology to identify the risks and also the control measures. And we are looking at several case studies, one in Kenya, London, canal boats, and India, and also in Haiti.
So India, London, and Haiti. Eve, I mean, there's a question for you. One wouldn't naturally assume London is a hotbed of NTD activity, or why London?
Yeah, no, you're right to say that obviously the cases of tropical diseases in London isn't that high. But what is interesting there is within central London on the canal network, which runs for about 60 kilometres in central London, there's 3,500 boats, which are livable boaters, as a non-sewage sanitation network. So it's been just an interesting case study that kind of evolved quite organically. And we wanted to investigate kind of how people manage that system by themselves. So that's what we did.
I mean, that sounds fascinating, and what a place to draw inspiration from. You mentioned something earlier in terms of de-risking, and then this kind of look at the way it's already used in a London setting in terms of CBS. Something that you alluded to on the slides was that it was a statement that you made was that you want sanitation to be viewed as or looked at as a service, and really you're addressing the whole value chain in terms of sanitation from a service perspective. Could you kind of enlighten us a little bit in terms of what you mean by that, and where that could lead to in terms of potential partnerships?
Mm-hmm. Yes. CBS is not only a technology but also as a service, because it's a service toilet, and also because it gives us opportunity for recovery costs, but also resources like nutrients from the waste. For example, some CBS companies or business, they are developing biochar, or some others are also developing biogas and also other type of fertilizer. So there is a huge opportunity for looking at the whole sanitation chain, since the collection, a safe management of the sanitation from the collection up to the final disposal once it's treated and usually safe.
Okay. From your perspective, Eve?
Yeah, well, very, very much. I mean, I think it's there's a lot happening within remodeling sanitation as a service and as a potential economy. So looking at last week was the launch of a sanitation economy from the Toilet Board Coalition, which is trying to drive forward sanitation from delivering a public health gain, but also looking at it as an opportunity for new business opportunities, and can that be used to scale it up, and how to do that. So what benefits from an economic perspective are also kind of obtained from this.
So I guess the revolution will be televised, is what you're saying, in terms of waking people up and viewing this not as a tech, something that they're going to buy, but something that they're going to actually use to then.
Yeah, well, I think and as well, Luisa's presentation was showing how this technology, this system isn't in fact that new, but it's like a revolution of what we used to do, how we used to contain and live sustainably and have a much more diverse kind of economy. And we didn't look at sewage as a waste product. It's wastewater engineering, it's all about waste. And what a lot of companies and kind of individuals now trying to do is say this is a resource. It's, we excrete like 80% of nutrients that we consume. So to consider it as waste is really backward. So it's kind of trying to close that loop, and that will be the future. And hopefully we'll be able to link it to a really safe system, because at the moment that's that's potentially one of the problems, that it could just be deployed and not managed well, and that will have the same.
So from a partnership perspective, I mean, you mentioned that UCL, obviously from UCL, that the other partner was Unilever in terms of the funding for the project. Given the movement that you've just described, one would assume that education of the end user is an element that needs to be looked at for this revolution to happen, to stop people looking at it from a technology to a service model. So from a future collaboration or future pathway of partnerships that are possible out there, how much of a role will education or perhaps SciComm within this area play?
Very much. Education is very important because many sanitation that are around the world, there are many coaches or people that they build the toilets but they don't use it. So understanding the reasons and also tackling behavior change in communities where they can accept the technologies or accepting to handling their own waste is something that it needs to be done. And in particular, starting from the school. It's like we've been talking about information here and apps. So so this is very important to start from the school because they are the future. And they are easy to accept what we have there.
To getting in there early. I mean, from the MSc Environmental Engineering kind of crowd that you guys are heavily involved in terms of the UCL school itself, do you see any of those kind of students or that particular intake moving into PhD realm that would cover the concepts of data and data to education and the kind of areas that we're talking about?
Our MSCs or students in general, we have a MSc in Engineering for International Development. They are very keen in working with GIS or work with information technology to gather, to assess data available. So I see a huge opportunity there, in particular for us from the wash sector to collaborate with the health sector in a way that we can show that wash intervention is one of the best ways to reduce disease.
I mean, we often hear that the center ground in terms of the 17 SDGs is going to be occupied by the healthcare SDG, i.e. it's going to become an endpoint measure for the other SDG projects. So if someone's working in photovoltaics or an SDG in clean energy, or they're working on a clean water SDG, measuring the impact of that intervention against a healthcare indicator seems to be the kind of natural gravity when we talk about multidisciplinary research. So what I wanted to ask you is a long way around in terms of asking you this, but who out there do you want to partner with? Who is there anyone out there that you're looking to reach out to for future work?
Well, I think using, from point of my research, using smart data systems to make the operation in the system more effective is one. So having kind of more tech and kind of tech-based solutions to that. And then on the other end, behavior change, especially in children, and kind of children are attached now to a phone, so of course that's a useful one as well. And then one that the Toilet Board have looked at recently is kind of sensor-based data collection, and that's another. Data is valuable in itself for many different. I think making it safer to operate and making it more effective to operate. So having overflow sensors or just scheduling collection and that kind of collaboration would be very useful to set up monitoring of the system.
And obviously, we also need the partnership with for example, in our case, with the CBS community. So all those operators are at the moment running CBS systems. If you can partner with them, if they provide us the information, and then we will be able to give more, do a better analysis of a better picture of what is in there.
I want to ask you, is there a need or is there a natural movement, or would you like to see a move towards, let's say, how to put this, a data repository for all the varied CBS projects to come together on? Is there enough openness in terms of the various projects out there? Is it something that you could spearhead?
Yes, I think that for the CBS Alliance is already, I think they are going into that direction because they have been formed to learn from each other in order also to look at business models and also in a way of scaling up, how they can do to reduce costs, their operational costs, and also to scale up the system. So it will be a sort of depository of the data as well. So that alliance.
There is a move in that direction with the
Yes,
trend.
I see that,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.